Hello out there in TV land. Thanks for joining us on another episode of AGI, Anthony and Greg on Intelligence. I'm Anthony Moggio, and with me is Greg Long Ears Prost.
Oh.
That was my Easter reference.
It's happening as I'm getting older. As your ears grow? Is that what's happening?
Getting long in the... Isn't it long in the nose? Maybe it's nose.
It's nose and ears, I think.
Okay, both.
I think your head shrinks and the cartilage stays the same or something like that. I don't know.
It could be that, what?
I don't want to think about it.
I don't want to think about it either. I'm going to ignore
but
all
then
of
you
this.
can't hear as well. That doesn't make sense.
What?
You'd think with the bigger ears, you'd be able to hear better.
No. All lies.
All right.
All lies. So today, I want to kick off... I want to vent some frustrations to start.
I figured you would.
Okay. So, to our viewers, okay, there is always leaps and changes and new connections and new abilities and all this stuff on any of these AI tools. And it has frustrated me to no end these last 2 weeks since our last podcast. And normally what would happen, okay, this is normal. Okay, let's say ChatGPT does a new update. Okay, we all know for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be messed up. Things are going to be weird. It's every time, and it's any company. Let's say it's Chat. Then you just go to use a different one. No big deal. So you use Gemini instead. Oh, and then Gemini does an update. Okay, now that one's going to be, while they're trying to optimize and get things steady and working with the new integrations or the new tools or voice capabilities, okay, go use ChatGPT or go use Claude or go use whatever. My frustration has been all of them have sucked horribly in these last couple weeks. It's not, I'm like...
On purpose.
All of them, every one of them. Claude, Gemini, Perplexity hasn't let me down yet, but it has done some weird things it hasn't done before, as that's more research-based. It's just all of them. And so you're trying to do something very simple. Brand new conversation, haven't used anything, talking to it, here's what I'm looking at doing, this is what I need, okay, great, I need this information. It goes and gets the information. All right, can you refine that list? And it's like, well, what list? The list you literally just gave me.
That I haven't seen as far as the memory, that quickly on the memory.
And so inside of the chats, and I call it chats being like you have a conversation with it. Individual conversations, they have like context limits. And this is not new. The longer you would go, so talk to one for, I don't know, not time-wise, but length-wise. Like have a lot of really long conversations, a lot of research, back and forth. The longer it goes, it always starts losing whatever it was trying to do in the beginning.
Although it's a lot better.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe not
Absolutely.
the last 2 weeks, but prior to that, at least this year, it's gotten a lot better at that.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the problems, so everybody understands, that it goes back and starts back at the beginning of the conversation and reads the entire conversation every time you ask an additional question. So the more work you have in there, and especially if it has to go away for a minute or it's looking at pictures or things like that, that's kind of what's taken up a lot of the context. But I know Anthropic moved to whatever, 1 trillion tokens or something crazy, right? And that made it so much better that it could remember the conversation. But I'm with you. The last few weeks, it seems like it's slowed down, and I think we have proof that it actually has been throttled.
I think that is. And you'll hear tokens. So every so often I'm like, what's the current token? This like ethereal thing called a token. And so for the viewers, if you're just tuning in and haven't watched all of our episodes, and we talked about it way back when, but tokens are essentially you put in the text, it breaks them into chunks and numbers. The numbers go into the algorithms, and each one of those chunks of numbers are basically tokens. It can be a word. If it's a very basic word, it can just be a word, can be a token. If it's a complex word, like let's even say something like running, right? So the ing will be parsed out as a separate token, and the run will be kept as a token. But running won't be a single token.
What about the extra n?
Maybe that goes in this. Maybe that's a third token. I
But
before E.
however it chunks
Yes.
out. Each one's a token, and you get so many tokens.
750 words is about 1,000 tokens. Okay, so when we're saying like, oh, they made it like 1 million tokens. Well, every time, as Greg said, you talk with it, it's rereading everything. So, okay, maybe it's 750 words. Okay, well, it's only 1,000 tokens. It can keep doing that. And then it responds and you respond and it responds. And then pretty soon the whole conversation's eating up, 500,000 tokens. And so when it hits limits, when it starts getting to its limits, what it does is it starts shortcutting and bypassing. So instead of reading everything, it's going to start skipping things because it doesn't have enough tokenization to be able to read all of it.
Or it starts answering in short sentences and bullet points, or it doesn't give you a big, long explanation.
And lately, that context window seems to have gotten very short. Even processing Excel sheets or other documents is just shorter now. It's just weird. But it's the thing that's weird, though, that I frustrate it with, and I'll say it again, it's each of them. Like all at once in the last, like why are all of them right now doing this?
And we know the answer.
Well,
we talked about this a little bit last time, that they're moving all their resources, right, into
think there's some tying into this.
There's no
because of it, right? They don't have enough data centers, don't have enough power, don't have enough XYZ. Iran blows up 3 data centers over in the Middle East. That gets traffic gets shifted to other places. Exactly. And all of a sudden it's like, well, we have to then limit some of these areas so that we can actually do everything.
Well, and even on top of that we can run our newest program.
Oh, yeah, don't even forget that one either.
I mean, I think that's a bigger deal than anything else. And so Anthropic, as we mentioned last time, comes out with Mythos, this advanced system that they couldn't release, to the public because it was breaking all the encryption, and that looks like it's real.
Because they still haven't.
They've released it to all the major companies that are involved in
cybersecurity,
like Jamie Dimon just came out this morning. So he's the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, and he came out and said, "Hey, it found things in our system that we thought were rock solid." So he's telling everyone, "Hey, pay attention here. You might want to be careful." So, shoot, how about this? You might want to hold a little bit of real cash at home, just in case the whole system goes down. Right? You get a cyber attack and nobody can recognize credit cards or even what you hold in the bank. They ultimately probably will, but you can, malware, wipe all that stuff out. You walk into the grocery store, you got hard cash. I think they'll take it. I'm pretty sure. People are like, I collect gold. Well, we're not going to take a Cougaran at Kroger, they might for a gallon of milk or whatever, but, just regular cash.
It's going to be John Wick style. We're going to have one coin. No matter what you get, it's one coin.
Yes, yeah. But again, it's just common sense here that, it's like AI's one step ahead and the cyber companies are trying to, catch up. And that happened to be Anthropic, we think, that beat everybody to this point. It seems like it, and all the analysis seems like they're just slightly ahead. So it makes sense that they would be first. But what if it was some bad actor?
Iran. Right now.
Yeah, we'll just pick on Iran, sure. But, China, even if it is a bad actor, I don't want to start getting down that path necessarily, but somebody who doesn't have our best interests.
Yes, that is not friendly to the U.S.
Yep, and all they do is they use it to say, hey, go slow down Anthropic now. Slow down their AI companies a little bit. Don't let anybody know you're doing this, but slow them down a little bit so I can catch up or whatever it is. And this could be happening right now, and we wouldn't even know it. So I find that fascinating. But yes, so it's obvious, and I don't know if they've admitted it, but they've kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, we need all our resources into this new Mythos and whatever the next thing is, because that's everything. Because who cares about making sure you're doing your little joke over here, or your meme, or whatever, removing your aunt from your wedding picture or something. I don't need to waste tokens on that. I need those tokens as a company to make sure we're building this out here. So, and if it's that kind of leap, I think we talked a little bit about this, but the whole breaking encryption is about just brute force. It's about being able to run all these simulations all at once, every combination of characters at once. That's how it's doing it. And they thought a quantum computer would get there first, right? The the way a quantum computer works is it does all the calculations at once. Instead of doing, to get to this calculation that goes 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, to get to that point, it does it all at the same time. So it can look at all the molecules in this room and calculate it all at the same time. It's just pretty fascinating stuff, and allows you to do simulations. Right? Let's simulate this situation. Let's assume that Iran war continues for 2 more weeks and oil prices stay up at this price. What is that? How does that feed through the economic system? And do it all at once. LLMs, large language models, the ones that ChatGPT and chat bots and that, they are all of a sudden able to do this through the coding or whatever Anthropic's doing to be able to do this brute force. That means a standard computer that everybody might have on their desk is able to do this kind of simulation. So chemical analysis and airflow, we were talking about errors, that's a huge deal in mechanics and engineering and all that kind of stuff, all the way down to 3D printing to curing cancer and just brute force, right? Run all these things at it and see if we can find the cures. They're out there and put all the pieces together. So that should advance innovation just massively here. This is kind of one of the things we're waiting on. We're waiting on the agents to kind of help. But the other part of it is just brute force, being able to run analysis, millions of times all at once and continuously 24/7 until you find the answer. That's just massively powerful as far as advancing innovation. So they see something like that. It's like, hey, we're curing cancer, and you're making a giraffe joke over here. I think we're going to move those tokens over here. So, but at the same time, we got to run the company and we got to collect money and we still got to whatever. So, I think the run rate, revenue run rate went from I'm going to get the numbers right, but it's less than 10 billion to 200 billion here in a year, and they're expected to be 400 billion. It's just the massive amounts of money that are coming into these companies because people are using their systems. And then Anthropic takes off, and everybody starts switching over from ChatGPT and moving to Anthropic, and then they have all this mass, and they're trying to build out this mythos, and they're like, hey, it's great we have customers, but really we just want to solve all the world's problems over here and be the first over here. So thanks for the money, but we're going to throttle you down and move it over here. Makes sense.
And that's why I think Amazon, for instance, who announced, $200 billion to build out infrastructure, they don't care who uses it. They just know that when everybody shifts, Anthropic's going to go, hey, I need compute. I need power. I need processing. I need compute. And Amazon sits there and go, you can use mine. And they're all using the same one, so they just sit there sharing it amongst all the groups. Oh, everybody's shifted to chat. Now chat rents it from Amazon. And then, not exactly, but I mean, it's...
On the side for Amazon, they own a chunk of Anthropic. They own a chunk of OpenAI. They're very heavily involved in owning the other AI companies, and they have their own, but they're likely to be a winner here because that end delivery thing isn't AI-able as easily, and that's the fact that they own a lot of these guys. So it's been impressive what they've done from a business sense. I just saw, I don't know if you've been getting the drone delivery, but I was just walking my dog this morning, and dog freaking out as this drone, it was moving along. It seemed like it was going 100 miles an hour. I was shocked at how fast it was going. I've seen him in the neighborhood. Yeah. And it looked like it was dropping off the package in the back of the house. I thought it was dropping them off on the driveways, but I had an option. My neighbor, it's the back couple houses down. It's their backyard. So that's okay. I had an option the last time I bought something, and it said, do you want a drone delivery? And I'm like, sure. And it's like, oh, that'll be an extra $1.50. I'm like, well, forget that. Oh, come on, $1.50. If I was going to be home, I would have done it. If I wasn't going to be home, I'm like, well, that wastes the whole concept. Yeah, I just want to watch it. Yeah, anyway, that's cool idea. True. That is true. And on the security side, the other thing that's changed is, there used to be a section in IT called patch management.
All right. So what they would do is every so often they'd scan everything, compare it to new firmware updates, patches, software numbers. Oh, you're on 21.2. We're up to 23.1. You know, we got to patch you. Let's schedule that in the next so long.
Yeah, I remember that.
That seems to have almost gone away also in these last few weeks. We've been doing that. I mean, there's nothing new. But what's happening now, and I think some trickle down from some of this mythos would be, I'm sure if you followed it, it would be tied to it. The IT companies are basically calling and going, hey, you have this model, blah, 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 whatever it is. There's a critical update. We have to patch it. I'm like, okay. He goes, no, we have to patch it like now. Like not like next week, not next month. Like I want to you're going to take the whole network offline for this building. Yeah, it'll be about 15 minutes to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we should not be waiting. And it's like, okay, you know, that's not common. No. But what's happening is that's coming up more and more. I'm seeing more of these. Like, we need like an update. We need it now. This needs to get put in. This server patch needs to go in now. This has been identified as a backdoor access for third-party integrations. We need to go close this immediately. And this is stuff that is like so quick, right? I mean, it's, you know, like I said, it used to be like, okay, we're doing this. They would just do it. But you're getting I got to take your building offline because this is known, and anybody right now can get into your system until I finish this patch. It's just wild.
It's why everyone will have an AI cybersecurity agent watching things so that it can beat the other agent by a millisecond when it sees that something's wrong and it patches it as quickly as possible. Everything's about speed at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing. I don't know a lot about all that cybersecurity, but it seems like the most secure systems out there for the last 20 years have all been broken into by Mythos, this new system. Or at least, I shouldn't say broken into, and it's found corruption spots, or what do you call them?
Vulnerabilities.
Yeah, vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Yep. On all of them, and they've just blown people away.
And reading it, some of them they say are like super basic. Like we had no idea this should not have even existed in this system.
Exactly.
And it's been there for 20 years. Yeah. We didn't even know it.
And so every cyber guy is embarrassed, right? They're all like, how can that not be a top headline, right? If they hadn't told everybody and they just decided, hey, I'm going to go steal all the Bitcoin or whatever, right? You know, that's just amazing to me.
That's not, in some ways, all uncommon, because what would happen not usually, I'll say in some cases, they would find a vulnerability. Okay, so let's say some security team group, the ones that they're sharing.
Sometimes get paid, right? The guys would come in and say, I found it, right?
Yeah, and so and it was basically, there was a timeline. It was like, you know, hey, Microsoft, and bear with me on the timing on this. I'm recalling it, but I don't know the exact. Let's say, I'm going to make it up and say it's 20 days. They get reported to Microsoft. They get their money. They get whatever for finding it. They verify, yep, it's legit. Here you go. Here's your $30,000. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like the timer starts because it will now be made public in 20 days.
Yeah.
So now Microsoft, Adobe, pick a company. They are now on the clock of, okay, here we know the issue now.
Yeah.
How do we fix the issue?
Yeah.
Okay, what if we do this and then test it? Nope, that didn't fix the issue. It created 2 new issues. Okay, well, what if we do this and then patch and fit coding, and you're typing and you're round the clock trying to patch it, because some of these groups we're making it public on day 21.
Yep.
So
at least they gave you 20 days.
You got 20 days
and
to
maybe
figure
they told
it
a few
out.
friends, right? But even that, see how crazy it is. You got 20 days and they struggled to possibly close some of those loops. And here we're saying you got about a millisecond, you know, the time's up. Sorry, you know, if once everybody knows it.
It's wild. And that's really...
And again, it's Anthropic. What's the next one? What if it's somebody else?
To your point, the banking side, right? Like, we'll pretend that will always be made whole. We'll just pretend that that's the case. but the disruption is it being taken down.
Yes.
Right?
Nobody's
if
gonna take your
everybody's
check.
numbers are messed up, it's going to take them a while to unmess up the numbers to
Yes.
get you back whole again. And
Yes.
what do you do during that time?
Yes.
It takes the AI to figure that back out again.
All the electronic checks are going out. Everything, nothing's paid on
Or
time.
was.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nothing's paid.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
so if it goes 2 weeks, and you got to get those 2 weeks plus the forward weeks paying, and if you can't buy anything, people will stop buying stuff for a little while, like COVID all over again, right?
No more toilet paper.
Yep. Or you stay inside for a couple weeks. That's really dangerous to the economy as well.
Well, and that's some of what the goal might be, right? We don't really care about maybe the dollars. We just want the disruption.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
We
yeah,
just- we-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. If they can burn it down, they obviously they're going to try and burn it
Yeah.
down. But I would hope there's enough protection that we can get the stuff back in time. That's kind of the idea. But
So
regardless, just be careful. Again, if you're not paying attention to this, you're always trying to live life like saying, hey, if this happened, would that really surprise me? If I saw a headline and, hey, Iran cybersecurity or Russians or whatever, helped by the Russians, and they took down, all the banking system completely and wiped out all that. No, it wouldn't surprise me. So why aren't you prepared for this? I'm not saying, hide in a basement and suck your thumb, but if you got, $1,000 in cash, you might feel a little bit better about yourself that at least you can buy stuff you need to.
gold Cougarans.
Yeah.
Is that what Cougaran? I can never say that word. Cougarants. Hugh Grant? He was an actor.
Cougaran.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Cougaran. I'm going to go with
Another
it.
piece of advice. You don't
We
need
need
to
it.
be a prepper. You just need to find the other people that are preppers in your neighborhood and just have bigger weapons than them. Just
Oh, my God.
Just a side note.
So with the AI of, the doom and gloom, and I think there is definitely a layer here where, our viewers are watching to try to stay up to date in this noisy world. This piece of it is like a little blip of stuff that's going on, right? So, we always try to focus on like what's probably the most relevant things that are going to be the most interesting, the most relevant to share with the viewers. But there are, there's still advances going on.
Yeah.
And
We're
so
still
I'm in
crushing it.
a group
Right.
not this week, it was last week. Okay, so there's 20 something in this group. It's an online class. And I was amazed at it's like one of those leadership classes, and this is there's people across the US. And the thing that I found amazing in some of these cases is everybody is so hesitant and doesn't use AI, and it uses too much energy and it uses too much, whatever, insert things here. I just found that like it's amazing that you have all these, leaders in the groups and they're all like AI hesitant. Maybe that's not the right word, but they just I don't like it. I don't believe in it. It's, it's bad for the environment. And I'm in this group, right? So I'm sitting here going, oh boy. And, one of them knows us from the show. Hi, Nick. And also has seen, at conferences. And so I'm like, in my group, I go, we thought everything is bad every time there's a technology change, right? Like, oh, it's ruining power. It's taking too much energy. It's taking too much water, it's taking too much, insert a thing here. But when we look at the benefits, the humanitarian benefit side, you go, well, that's nice. It used a lot of electricity, but it's already found how many brand new treatments that are probably cures, but you have to wait 10 years to get through the FDA cycles for any of this to actually happen, which is why we're seeing a huge uptick right now in veterinary applications. There's a lot less hurdles in the veterinary side. We talked about the dog with the cancer cure and that in Australia. We're seeing a lot more of that because it's almost like they're using the tools. They know it'll take. We found an answer. We know it'll take 10 years to figure out if we're allowed to use this or not.
In humans.
But unless you go maybe to a country that doesn't have that, I don't know. Yeah. But then you have the veterinary side where like they're doing the same things. Animal versions of those cancers or liver issues or pick a thing. They're using the same tools to find those, and they can test them immediately. They can say, does this work or not? Yeah. Which is I think, fascinating. I'm seeing more and more and more AI animal cases, dogs, cats, pick a thing, for veterinarians to cure, manage, adjust all these different issues. And I think that's really neat. I think
it is, and it's a kind of thing
you hate AI if it saves your dog. You got another 5 years out of Fido. I mean, come on, I'll take that all day long.
That's why I'm like, you complaining about AI and like energy use. It's what it's going to figure out free unlimited energy. So it's going to use a little bit of energy to figure that out first, but we're not going to have a problem with that. The water thing is also mostly BS. It's not like it's contaminating water and it's pumping that water.
And they're all closed systems, the ones they're building now, anyways.
It's not. So I get not liking it. I get not liking the fact that it's going to change the world and make people think differently. All this kind of stuff, right? It's disruptive and it's scary and all that. There's no question about it. If that's your argument, great. Hey, I just want to be traditional. Fine, but to poo-poo it. There were a couple articles this morning that I read. One guy was wearing the Meta glasses, and all he did was complain, saying, I couldn't see the bird in a tree, and just all these complaints about it. And then at the end, he's like, it was kind of nice. It kind of helped me with some music. It helped me with it. It starts slowly going down that, but it made a mistake here, and I didn't, And so I'm just going to wear them as sunglasses. And I thought, you wore him all this time, you can't see the potential here. You couldn't see that the next version is going to be even better at that. Mm-hmm. It's going to be able to recognize things. It's going to be able to help you throughout your day. You and wearing this and seeing the potential, you couldn't just take the next little leap and know that 6 months, a year from now, it's going to be that much better. One person this morning, on one of the articles, they said something about, it was taking pictures with the glasses and saying it's a real photograph, not like you ask it to make a photograph and it adds 7 arms and 4 fingers and things. It's like, dude, that's a year ago. You're writing an article today at its major newspaper and giving us an update on you using this, and you're making fun of it not being able to make pictures, a year ago. It's so myopic. I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
So, and then all the great things that are going to come from this. So.
We focus on the good.
Stuff. Right.
We focus on the good because
it's not perfect to start. It isn't.
Who isn't?
But it's
come on,
moving in that direction.
Now, last thing to talk about, I thought was interesting. It brought up this Stanford study, right? So, Stanford did what was it? HAI.
I'm not even sure what it stands for.
I don't even know what it stands for either. But so they do this study. And they did it's a global study about AI and public opinion. Okay, so some of the very quick highlights from that one. So that was just released. So right now, people that are considered experts in AI, and maybe this leads to what we were just talking about, 73% of them say that it will have a positive impact. Okay. Especially on jobs, the economy, etc. But when you did the same thing, so if you were a novice AI person,
that's the public
was 23%. So I would put myself in the 73%. I only see the positive impacts that are going to come from this, and kind of just these nuances as they pop up, kind of like you mentioned, even the glasses, right? Yeah, it doesn't work, but can you see if it did, and it will, what this will be like? I mean, game-changing for disabilities and all sorts of groups.
I'm into 23% where I am nervous about this, and I think it depends on how you ask the question, right? Mm-hmm. And if you say, "Is this a positive impact?" they're going to say, "No, because people won't read as much and they won't learn as much and that kind of thing." If you're just dwelling on that. Or it's going to take over the world.
The calculator, we will never understand math because they're just using the TI 89, 86. Whatever the number is these days.
Exactly.
93.
No, what is it? 67.
I don't even know.
67?
It was 86. We weren't allowed to use 93s because they did all the work for us. Yeah. So that was not it. But
then the other part of this study was based on trust in the government.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Drum roll.
And look at the U.S. right at the very bottom. We are the largest contributor or investor in AI in the world by far. Our systems are the best, and we're jamming it.
50-point gap.
50-point gap there.
And so how much do you trust your government in the regulation of AI by country? That's this percent right here. So, yep, down at the bottom, if you can't see, there's the U.S., 31%. And
they did a sub-question. I don't think it's on there where they asked, within the United States, how many people trust Anthony and Greg on intelligence? And I think it was right around 31% as well. So that's not helpful.
But when we asked the experts, though, we beat Singapore out. We were at least 99% of experts recommend
26 of you that watched the last episode.
It's hundreds now, Greg. We're in the hundreds now. We're making headway.
Sorry.
So that's just one of these charts, and I think there's a telling story in this. Just when you look, I think also in the types of government in each of these countries.
Yeah.
So it seems, the bottom of the list, least trusting government: United States, Japan, Hungary, Great Britain, Canada, France. So, I mean, you start running through the list, and it's like very little trust. But then you look at the high trusting government. We're looking at Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Chile, Mexico. Mexico and Colombia. No, I won't go there. We'll leave the other ones alone. But we see the groupings and how different they are. So now I do wonder, did we just ask the government what the people thought about how much they trust in AI, or did the people get asked?
I think the people got asked.
I think so, too. I just make that as a joke. But it is interesting just to see how much the trust difference is, right? And I think probably it would be interesting, not that this would ever have existed at that point, but to see a pre-COVID number, right, on just how much there's still ramifications left over. You can't stop hearing about, vaccines, and they gave me this, and I'm glad I didn't get it. It's like this was like 6 years ago now at this point. I mean, are we still hung up? And they probably will be for the rest of time. But there's that truthfulness to AI, right? Like it's going to give you the truth. You ask a question about vaccines, it's going to tell you the truth, and a lot of people don't like that as well. So, yeah, exactly. And that's where early on the models, and I do test this relatively, it's starting to push back a little bit now. The early models always wanted to be positive and feed into whatever you wanted to do.
They still do to a certain extent.
They do. Yeah. It's getting a little less now. And so
I think I'm getting smarter. So when it tells me that's a really good question, I think I'm getting better at asking the questions. At the same time, it's not being as sycophantic. So I'm keeping right up with it. Does that make sense?
I will buy that for $1. But I just think that it's interesting in – this is the other one. I wanted to show this one here. But it's interesting just how this is playing out. So here's our investment in AI by area. I don't know what this means. I don't, but this is a lot of money.
$1 billion.
This is a lot in billions. That seems proportionately to the entire economy of each of these countries, or group.
And we're this, just slightly ahead of them.
And here it is, and we're spending just massive dollars. And we look, and so, you can go through and you can read through these indexes, AI accidents, accuracy, it's kind of funny. They can win math, but they can't tell you, what the time is. And then here we go. This is one of the interesting benchmarks that they used between DeepSeek out of China, and this looks like Claude, Gemini. So they got top U.S. models here, and notice how way off, and they keep closing the gap. Beginning
of last year, look at DeepSeek and how it almost touched the line in January 25 there.
Right here, January.
Up, they were almost even. Our systems pulled ahead, but we're spending a lot more money.
And then during these times, right, especially right around here, that's when ChatGPT cut out, I think it was DeepSeek. I'll have to go back and look on that one. But they were basically using it on the to train it. So they had the AI talk
to
in, like 30,000 conversations to get answers to train itself without actually training it. So, we'll see where this goes. Time will tell. What a time to be alive, Greg.
No kidding.
And on that bombshell, thanks for joining us on another episode of AGI, Anthony Greg on Intelligence. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you at the next one.